Cole's getting ready. Week 14. Licking our wounds from week 13, but we're back at it again. Here we go. Cole, before we get started, I don't even know what the crap are you doing?
I'm pulling my Dan Campbell here on Thursday Night Football with the play sheet over the face. This is actually a Applebee's menu. I'm looking at the three-pick appetizers here.
Where's the play calls in the background? Where's all the protections?
Yeah, really. How about that,
Yeah. All right, boys, let's dive into it. Let's talk a little. I wrote down our core four for week 13. I got to give you guys some props. Tommy Trimble, Gabe, well done. Cole, Chase Brown, defying the odds. I was a little bit worried about the matchup. He was awesome. Joe Mixon was good. Matt Stafford was good. Puka was pretty good. You graded out pretty good this week, brother.
He graded out average. Cole, the average Joe.
The average.
Your fantasy name holds true.
Let's talk about these grades. Let's talk about these grades for a second because my mind is very thrown. So Hunter Henry projected 12.6, got 14.5. How is that an A minus? He
outscores projection.
It should be at least an A. He outscored his projection.
No, an A would be if he scored 12.6 points, that's a B.
That's a pass.
That's strictly at the projection at a B. So you scored 2 points over 12.6. You're real close to a B plus, but I was generous. I gave
an A would be an A would have been an A.
No. And also the reason it was an A minus is because he was 4,200. So he was a cheaper option. There's a little more risks there with that play. Okay. So he gets bumped up kind of to the A minus range. Cole, however, picked Joe Mixon, who had 24.9. That's a lot of points. However, he costed 8,400 8,400. So you don't really get the benefit of the doubt there in your grade. You picked a guy who was priced at 24 and he scored 24. You get a B.
Fair enough.
That's also why if you pick a guy who's 8,000 and he scores 3 points, you get an F.
Because my core four is not about the grade. My core four is about the
points. Production, just production.
Points.
Oh man, well,
Bryce Young, that was a great pick. He freaking killed it.
You know what else was a really good pick? Gus Edwards.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
The Gus bust was a great pick there last week.
I'll say this about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had 12.2 points, and that's the thing about picking quarterbacks in a really good matchup. There's a catch-22. Your running backs go for 250 yards on the ground combined, and Baker Mayfield doesn't do anything. You kind of assume that risk in a blowout, and that's what happened. I was really confident Baker was going to get 20 plus. But his floor was really low or high. I keep saying low. His floor was really high because of the matchup. So he got 12.2, and that's probably the lowest he was going to get in that game.
Yeah,
was 12.2.
That's fair. Well, let's move on. Let's go values for week 14. Check in the landscape out here. Let's go quarterbacks first. Gabe, you start us. Give me 2 to 3 values for week 14 at quarterback.
Britton, I know where you're going, so I'm not going to snipe you. I'm going to let you have your 5 minutes of fame talking about this guy. I'm going to start off, though, with Aiden O'Connell. I know he's questionable at 4,800. Had a good game against a good Chief defense last week. I know Myers is questionable. Brock Bowers is healthy and looking like a stud. So I'm not gonna take the chance on Aiden O'Connell this week. I think they play Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Really weak pass defense. Take my chance there. And then Geno Smith. He just didn't. He's not gonna. He could get you 30, but he's gonna stick right around 12 to 15 points. But he's got that higher, I guess, potential for more with his weapons. He has such a good team, like a good offense with Walker and Metcalf, Smith and Jigba. I know his tight ends are kind of mid, but he just has such good weapons that I feel like he's bound to have one of those games. Huh?
What's his price?
5,800 against the Cardinals. So he's still below 6K, and the Cardinals defense has been okay this year. They've kind of come around recently and played better, but it's still the Cardinals. I mean, you're not scared of the Cardinals. And then I'm going back to the well with Baker Mayfield of 6,400. Playing Vegas. I know he kind of underperformed what everybody was hoping last week against the Panthers, but another really good matchup for him, and he's got Mike Evans back, who scored. I think Evans scored 2 touchdowns last week, or just one. Did he score 2?
I know he scored 1 for
I think
sure.
I think it was just 1, but I like Baker Mayfield again. He's played really well. That's about 3.
Sweet. Cole, what you got?
Yeah, I already know who you're going to go with, Flo. So I went ahead. I'm going to go ahead and avoid him too. He is my number 1 though.
Just say it. It's all good.
No.
No, you got Britton this. He's got faith. I want to hear that. I want to hear that dirty little mouth say it.
Yep.
Crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
You, Brennan. I know you touched my drum set, and I want to hear that dirty little mouth admit
You
it.
get out of my face, or I'm gonna roundhouse your ass.
You swear on your mom's life that you didn't touch it then.
I don't have to swear to
My second guy, I'm going with Sam Darnold, 6,100 versus Atlanta. They got good weapons. I'm going against the pod. I'm going.
I had to mute him for a second. We're not doing this. You just picked Sam Darnold. The podcast is not a friend of Sam Darnold. hold on. Okay. Go back. Sorry, keep going.
All right. Sam Darnold, you got one guy left in this podcast this week. You got one last shot with the print. And I know it doesn't matter whether you're successful or not, and whether our opinion matters or not, because you're making millions of dollars to throw touchdowns to Justin Jefferson,
Exactly.
TJ Hawkinson. But you got one believer left in this small pod, and it's me. So
It ain't me.
It ain't me, coach.
So please carry me to victory this week and carry me to the money. But
it'd be a low ownership week for him.
I can't believe that you just brought up Sam Darnold on here after all the trashing we've done. I can't believe you did it.
I'm trusting the eyes this week, boys. Trusting the eyes. But
He sees ghosts, man. He trusts those eyes.
my next guy,
Yeah.
I'm going for Russell Wilson at 5,900 versus Cleveland. Cleveland's defense has been not very good the last few weeks. I see a possibility for Mr. Unlimited to have a big day with George Pickens as stack.
I like this.
I like it.
My last guy, I'm go ahead and do 3. I'm gonna pick Jameis Winston against Pittsburgh. He impressed me against the Broncos defense. It's actually pretty good. I'm gonna see if I can put some faith into him here to have another big week. But be careful, because he's a good price. He's a good price, but it's a good defense too. So
Yeah. And they don't have Levi Wallace trying to guard Jerry Jeudy.
Good Lord, man. How about that guy?
Yeah, he got exposed there, boys.
He tripled his career production with that one game.
That's crazy. All right, well, I'll go QBs here. I'm liking the Aiden O'Connell price at 4,800 if he plays, coming off a really good week last week against Kansas City, getting a little momentum. He had 340 yards passing and 2 touchdowns against a decent Kansas City team. And we've seen, like Bryce Young in the past, get a little confidence going against Kansas City. Maybe he'll carry that momentum as well. But we will see. And then the other game I had, or the other quarterback I have, is Will Levis at 5,000. I'm back.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Classic.
He's playing against Jacksonville. So anytime a quarterback's going against Jacksonville, except for Sam Darnold, I will happily sign up for that. So Jacksonville's 32nd at quarterbacks, averaging 23.7. And if you look at Will Levis's last 4 weeks, 19.1, 16.6, 18.1, 16.2, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks. So at 5,000, still one of the cheaper quarterback options. Sign me up for Will Levis, and I'll go ahead and lead us into receivers because I'm gonna go stack.
Yes, sir. You got to.
I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley again against Jacksonville. He had a crappy week last week. He was in my core 4 and got like a D-. So not my favorite. I'm going back to the well on this one because anybody against Jacksonville, wide receiver 1, I will take happily.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'll say this. Game is in Tennessee, and Jacksonville just lost Lawrence for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Jacksonville is going to go full tank.
Yep.
So, those
I'll
guys
say
on
this
defense,
as well.
what are they playing? What are they playing for, What are they playing for? Nothing.
I'll say this as well. It's both of you guys just looked over. It is a Calvin Ridley revenge game.
Yes,
oh,
it
yeah,
is.
it is. Yes, it
Mhm.
is. I forgot.
Book it. Good,
Calvin,
good
yeah.
call.
Good
Yep.
stat, good fun, good pull.
Good pull.
So I'm going to talk about a couple other receivers here, but I was thinking about this. I was sitting in the truck cleaning pools today with Brooks, and he said kiss. I was like, what are you talking about? Keep it simple, stupid, right? So I'm going out here looking at values. I see Jacoby Myers is a receiver 1 sitting at 5,600. Calvin Ridley is a receiver 1 at 5,700. Jerry Jeudy, he's out there at under 6,000 again. All these guys have the potential, the value to boom. Now they also have the value to bust because that's why they're at this price, not at a Amon-Ra St. Brown price, right? Because they're less consistent than those
It's all
other
quarterback
wide
play.
ones.
It's all based on their quarterback. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think there's some favorable matchups for them. Jerry Jeudy I'm leaning against because I don't love the Pittsburgh matchup. But Calvin Ridley against Jacksonville and Jacoby Myers against Tampa Bay, I like that matchup. Wide receiver 1s against crappy defenses. It just is going to depend on the quarterback play. And if Aiden O'Connell gets hurt, if he ends up not playing, I will reevaluate Jacoby Myers. But right now, value-wise, I think Jacoby Myers and Calvin Ridley stand out to me. Wide receivers under 6, or wide receiver 1s under 6,000. Always good when you get a crappy defensive matchup for those guys. So, Gabe, go ahead and go into receivers for us. What you got?
Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with a guy that had a decent week last week, and Marvin Harrison Jr. 6,000. I know he's kind of had an up and down year. He's been very volatile. That's a stock term. He's been up and down. He's either like 3 points or somewhere in like the 17 to 20. But he plays Seattle. I know Seattle's got some good corners. It's all dependent on Kyler Murray. If Kyler Murray he typically tends to play his best games against the best defenses, and when he plays a really bad defense, plays his worst game. I guess he stays up till midnight playing Call of Duty against the bad defenses because he doesn't play good against them.
It feels like he doesn't have to prepare.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's a guy that I really like this week, which is it's kind of weird in a game I expect a lot of points. Khalil Shakir 5,900 for Buffalo. I still think he's number 1 there, even though they got Cooper. Yeah. Cooper's not getting the volume I expected, and Shakir's been there. He's been through the system. Him and Josh Allen have a good connection. I like him. And if you're thinking about stacking somebody with Geno Smith against Arizona, DK Metcalf 6,200. He's now not even the highest price receiver there, and Jigba just replaced him as the highest price receiver in Seattle. But it's just hard for me not to pick DK Metcalf. But I mean, and Jigba's been awesome. So either one of those guys, if you want to stack with Geno, you honestly can't go wrong. And then this surprises me. His price has steadily dropped. Drake London, 6,400. 16 targets last week. And we just dropped to 6,400. His price is going down. The AI loves Drake London. The computers love him. And I'm starting to love him too. I'm starting to love Drake London too. Yeah. So that's some of the guys I'm zeroing in on.
Yeah. I think part of the reason his value is dropping is because Kirk Cousins has had 2 terrible weeks.
Yeah.
So I think that could play a part of it. But kind of what you were saying with the 2 receivers I was talking about, just quarterback play has been up and down. Kirk Cousins has kind of been up and down the last couple of weeks. And I think the receivers pay a price sometimes for that, like you said.
But he's getting that volume.
Yeah,
he's going to get on the ball. And they're playing Minnesota, right, Cole? Like you said, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, they're playing Minnesota. Yep.
Secondary is straight up dookie, dog water, trash.
Yep.
All right, so my receivers, y'all taken all of the ones that I've listed here, but I'll piggyback on what y'all were saying.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison is moving into that category about where Deebo Samuel is for the rest of the year on my no-touch list. Just because he could be good or he's just so bad, and I just can't put my lineup in the hopes of him going off. So my first receiver is going to be Jacoby Myers at 5,600 versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's not a great defense. They're 30th in passing yards allowed. That's something to keep an eye on. The problem is Aiden O'Connell going to be able to get the ball to him without throwing it to Brock Bowers every play?
True.
Because that seems like he was the only person that was getting open last week against Kansas City. My second guy is going to be Drake London, 6,400 versus Minnesota. He's 32nd against receivers. They're allowing 243 yards per game passing. And Drake London's the first read basically every time Kirk Cousins says hot. So, like we were saying, Kirk Cousins is having a rough time. Kirko Chains is struggling. He's on the struggle bus. Those chains are turned out to be fake gold right now. But if Kirk Cousins can somehow dial it back to the old days and throw for 500 again, I'm expecting Drake London to have a big game at a good price. So, two receivers to keep an eye on is Calvin Ridley with the revenge game, and then Westbrook Akine, who's on a touchdown streak that's just insane.
He is hot right
Yeah,
now
dude,
with TDs.
Yeah. I promise you I can end it this week if you want me to.
Yeah, I was like, just let me pick him.
I can pick and end it for you if you want.
Let me pick him. Well, let's jump to running backs here. Cole, we'll go right back to you. What you got
Cole, you started out.
We stole all your receivers.
Yeah, you steal ours now. Snipe
That's all right. That's all right, man. I'm gonna go ahead and throw an obvious one out there for everybody that I'm sure has everybody's thinking the same thing. Isaac Guerrero at 5,400.
Yep.
It is against Chicago. Chicago's pretty decent on defense, but he's the only healthy guy they got that's not on the practice squad. So I'm expecting a lot of touches from him. I was mentioning earlier before we started recording, Deebo Samuels might get a few carries, might see an increase in carries, but not enough to deter me away from picking Isaac Guerrero. If I was looking for just value only and didn't have any emotion, like if I was an AI optimal lineup. My second guy is going to be, if Bucky Irving doesn't play, Rashad White, 5,300 versus the Raiders.
Good call.
He's got receiving capability. He's going to get a lot of carries as well. He will guarantee you he will get a touchdown vultured by that third string running back that was there.
Shot Tucker
Yeah. And then the last guy is Najee Harris, 6,000 versus the Browns. Once again, subpar defense letting up a lot of rushing yards. Najee's getting a lot of catches. I think he got 6 catches last game, so that's it's a big deal.
His receiving values come back around this year. From the last few when Pickett was there. For some reason, Pickett, I don't know if he wanted to show off that arm, but he would refuse to check it down on Najee Harris.
Yeah. But 6 catches, 6 points. I mean, that's the same as 60 yards, like we always say.
Minimum point of 6.
Yeah.
Not counting the yards.
Those are the guys I have circled right now. My running back wise.
Yeah, I'll speak to your Isaac Guerrero. Chicago is ranked 25th against the rush this year. Yeah. So, and with the scheme that they run in San Francisco, real run heavy, a lot of play action. I like Guerrero, 5,400 in that matchup. This is going to be a week of injury news. You're going to have to really track what's going on with injury reports and stuff, because I'm about to name off some guys that are all questionable and haven't practiced this week. Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Breece Hall, and Bucky Irving. All 4 questionable and haven't practiced. So you can find some really good value there at running back. And if you find that value at running back, then pay up for those receivers, because not a ton of good receiver value below 5,000 DraftKings dollars this week. It's all mid-tier guys around 6,000 you're trying to find value at, but you're not getting any studs like you would hope at like 4,000 at the receiver position. So you're going to have to make that value up somewhere else, probably the running back room. And that's where the value really lies there at running back. I don't have any other plays there because I'm still tracking those injuries. Britton, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I had the same thing y'all got. I highlighted Guerrero and I highlighted Rashad White if Bucky Irving doesn't play. If Bucky Irving plays, I like him too at 6,600. Yeah. It's not too bad. So those are kind of the guys I had highlighted as similar to y'all. I think a lot of the value is going to come out on Sunday when we figure out who's playing and who's not playing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Swift is 5,700 against San Francisco, and I think Kenneth Walker is somewhere in the 6,000 range. So even Breece Hall 7,000. I mean, they're not bad plays if they're playing. They're still reasonably priced. They're not super high, but you're going to get Zach Charbonnet at 4,800 against Arizona if Kenneth Walker doesn't play. Yeah. And Cole, I don't care what you say, take it.
Yeah, that's
4,800.
That's a core.
Can't pass it. That's a core 4.
No doubt. If Walker's out, but we'll jump to tight ends. That was a good update on the injury news there. But let's go tight ends here. Gabe, start us off with tight ends.
Yeah, I like T.J. Hockenson, 4,300. I don't necessarily like Sam Darnold, but I like T.J. Hockenson. Dallas Goedert, hamstring boy, has picked up a new injury. I think he hurt his knee last week. So he hadn't practiced yet either. So Grant Calcaterra at 3,500. I know we've gone to him a couple times, and he's kind of bit us, but he's also been reasonably productive at a really low price. And this guy, I'm going to throw this guy out there, and I think he is still severely underpriced. And he's the second highest tight end on the board, and that's Trey McBride with Arizona. 6,100. I know that's somewhere around 18 points, but he's a target machine. He's getting a lot of yards and a lot of catches. And if you, like I said, if you can find some of those really cheap running backs and you want to get some really high floors with a really high ceiling, a little bit more consistency for production, that's when you got to go Trey McBride at the tight end position in a high scoring game, I suspect.
Cole, what you got?
All right. So, in case y'all haven't heard, if y'all been living under a rock, Taysom Hill's knee is completely shredded chicken now.
Shattered.
I mean, it's falling off the bone like good rib meat. I mean, it is toast. I mean, it is gone. I watched it live. It is
cooked.
And he's a friend of the pod. I mean, I love Taysom Hill, but I'm going with his replacement at 3,400, Jawan Johnson versus the Giants. Derek Carr likes finding him. He usually has a pretty good tendency to get open, and Derek Carr and him seem to have good rapport. He's just so cheap. He's going to get a lot of looks. Yeah. Now, the downside is Foster Moreau is also going to see an uptick in targets, and him and Derek Carr also have good chemistry from the Raiders days. So that's something to look out for, but definitely going Jawan Johnson, my first guy overall, 3,400, and then TJ Hawkinson, like we were touching on earlier, 4,300 against a bad defense. And then Dallas Goedert.
They are begging somebody to take over the targets in New Orleans.
Begging really? Yeah.
Somebody.
I'm surprised they don't have more open tryouts. They've had some already this year, but
man,
yeah,
why is Hunter Renfrow not on the roster? Go pick him up.
I don't know, man. I've been wondering the same thing. I mean, there's no way he's worse than Mason Tipton. I mean,
I can't believe Carr hadn't said something like bring him in.
Yeah, he's a premium saltine. He's one of the premiums. You got to bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, you want a guy like Adam Thielen, that's basically your guy. I don't understand. I mean,
he's a poor man's Cooper Kupp. Great route runner. Great on third down. He's gonna move the chains. Third and Renfrow was his nickname in Oakland. Bring the guy in. What's it gonna hurt? There's got to be something behind the scenes. He seems like a great guy. There's got to be some injury, something going on.
Yeah, maybe it's like a concussion, scare thing. He doesn't want to,
I still see Hunter Renfrow
get hurt, but.
Oh god, yeah. Every time I think about him, all I see is him score that touchdown and flicking the ball to the referee, and I'm just roll Tide.
But roll Tide. But my last guy, if Dallas Goedert's out, our classic pick, going back a few weeks, Grant Calcaterra, 3,000. He's actually cheaper than Jawan Johnson, I think, at 3,500 versus Carolina.
Yep.
So that's who I'd go with, my tight end picks.
Yeah, and Carolina's 32nd to tight ends, averaging 17.3 fantasy points a game. So there could be some opportunities there with Goddard potentially being out. Gabe, I'm going back to the one you talked about last week with Tommy Tremble at 3,000. I think if Jatavion Sanders doesn't play, he had a really good showing last week, and Bryce Young was looking for him. He had a lot of opportunities at 3,000. If Sanders is out, I think you take another stab at it and see what he can do. And then I said, screw it on this one, Brock Bowers. I'm tired of sitting and watch. I'm looking at that price. I'm like, he's the highest tight end. Screw it.
Balding at the ripe age of 25, Brock Bowers.
He's at 6,500 this week against the Buccaneers, who's the 27th to tight ends in fantasy. So I think if you like the matchup against Tampa Bay, you spend the money on Brock Bowers and let that be your wide receiver one, so to speak. So I'm tired of looking at him. I'm gonna pick him this week at some point. So
here comes the meltdown. Here comes the Brock Bowers meltdown.
Kiss of death. So let's kind of shift gears here. Let's go core four. core 4 for week 14. Sorry, I got a little man crying in the background, so if you hear that, my bad. Cole, go ahead and lead us off. What you got, core 4?
All right, my core 4. I'm starting off with the Mayo Man, Will Levis.
The Mayo Man.
The Mayo Man. First NFL quarterback to do adult film. Second, second player is Najee Harris. The third player is Drake London. And fourth player is Jawan Johnson. Those are my core 4 guys that I've got picked into most of my lineups. Let's get through. Let's not touch base on more of that Will Levis talk or all that. Let's fight through that one. Just had to throw it in there.
That's awesome.
Gabe, you go ahead, brother.
All right. I'm gonna start out. I'm going back to Baker Mayfield, 6,400. Somehow his price dropped from last week. I know he had a bad showing against Carolina, but they dropped his price in another good matchup. So I'm going back Baker Mayfield. And then I'm gonna go Isaac Garindo, 5,400. It's hard to go away from a guy who's priced at that salary and on a good offense. I think with the injury news to Jordan Mason, I think he was priced before that came out, putting him on the IR. So I don't think they were expecting him to lead the backfield this weekend or he'd be more expensive. And I've kind of been going back and forth on some of my receivers, but I'm going to go TJ Hockenson at 4,300 at the tight end position there. And then my last core 4, if the running, depending on what happens with the running back situation, I might change it, but I'm going to go to a receiver and I'm going to take Drake London, 6,400 as my final core 4 pick, depending on those running back injuries.
Man, Drake London? That's high. That's a high price for a core 4 pick for you, guy.
I'm believing in Drake London. I've been like really skeptical about Drake London, but I'm starting to come around. He's been doing good. So
you're gonna sacrifice an A grade for a B- or B+?
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going in.
I picked Jawan Johnson this week in honor of you because it's so low.
I still had Hockenson at 4,300. I mean, that's pretty low. It's not 3,000, but it's still pretty low.
Flo, give us what you got.
Sorry, I got tears in the background here. So if you can't hear me,
all right.
my bad. But
Big
my
dog.
core 4, I've got Garindo at 5,400. I've got Will Levis at 5,000. Calcaterra at 3,500. And then Calvin Ridley at 5,700. That's kind of my core 4 for this week, but it may change depending on what running back news comes out as we get closer to Sunday. Who's in, who's out. So that may change, but that's kind of where I'm going to build my lineups around this week, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe, you go ahead and take over optimal lineups. I'm going to mute out here for a second because I got screaming baby, but take over, bud.
Go ahead. Okay. Stay tuned to the TikTok channel. We'll have those AI optimal lineups posted. I guarantee you Isaac Garindo will be in those lineups. You can book it, I promise. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Drake London's going to be in there too. Pretty positive. They love Drake London.
It might as well be called the AI optimal lineup with Drake London.
Featuring Drake London.
The Drake London optimal lineup.
Yeah. And my best lineups I've had recently have been lineups where I combine my thoughts with what the AI has consistently said over the last few weeks. And it's been Drake London like every single week, and it's been steady production. So anyway, stay tuned to the TikTok channel for those AI optimal lineups later in the week. I'm going to start out with the quarterback, Will Levis, 5,000. Isaac Garindo, 5,400. And then I'm going Alvin Kamara, 8,000 against the Giants. Real hefty price there, but I'm making that up with some of the lower price plays and really high floor there. Love high floors. I say that too much. Tyreek Hill, 7,100 against the Jets. I don't think Sauce Gardner is going to be able to. You're saying no, like you don't like Tyreek Hill? No. Okay.
I'm done with Tyreek.
Okay. You'll regret that decision. Drake London, 6,400. Calvin Ridley with the stack. Will Levis. TJ Hockenson, 4,300. And I'm kind of expecting Bucky Irving to not play this weekend, honestly, or maybe be limited. So I'm going to go Rashad White, 5,300 And then Titans defense, 2,800. Big Titans guy. I'm thinking about going the game. Lower bowl tickets are like $50. I'm thinking about swinging in there if it's not raining. That's when the real fans start going.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
affordable.
$300, $200, $100. Now they're around about 50. This is when real
Yeah.
fans get in there.
This is where they start giving. This is where they start giving tickets away and Happy Meals and things like that.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of stuff about just enter this giveaway for Titans tickets. They're starting to give them away.
If you spend $100 at this Publix, we'll give you free tickets to the Tennessee Titans game.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll go next. I'm going Mayo Man, Will Levis, adult film star at the Q position.
Not a double time, the 2-time. Went right back to it.
Running backs, I'm going Najee Harris and Rashad White. Obviously, I'm going to have to tweak it if Bucky Irving plays. I'm going to have to make some adjustments, but I'm banking on him not playing for now. Wide receivers, I'm going to go Calvin Ridley, again in a revenge game and a stack. Will Levis. Then I'm going to old reliable Puka Nacua for my floor guy at wide receiver. Drake London, my third receiver. Alvin Kamara at the flex against a mediocre Giants defense. I skipped over tight end. Jawan Johnson, 3,400. A bank and have some faith in him. Then I'm going to go the Bears defense. I feel like they have the best chance to perform against the 49ers instead of the other lower rated defenses. So,
yep.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I've got, we just absolutely screwed Will Levis this week, boys, because I've got him starting as well. So if you're listening, do not start Will Levis.
Go to him.
But I've got
Go
Will
to
Levis
Mayo,
at
boy.
5,000. And then I spent money on running backs, boys. I got Kamara at 8,000 and Saquon Barkley at 9,000. Got Marquez Valdez-Scantling at 4,600. Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers. Ridley's at 5,700. Myers at 5,600. Calcaterra at 3,500. Guriendo at 5,400. And then the Saints defense to round it off at 2,900. So
you're playing a dangerous game with Saquon at 9,000. That's 27 points. That is a dangerous game.
I think it may change for me. I'm with you. I look at that price. I'm like, God, that makes me want to throw up. But I need a little bit more information at running back.
We're getting in there to like Christian McCaffrey territory, and like when he was like last year, like and the reason that it scares me is because of Jalen Hurts getting at the 1 yard line. Yep. This is why it turns me off, because when McCaffrey was at that price, I knew he was going to get the goal line touches. But it's Jalen Hurts is what scares me.
Yep, rolling the dice here, and it may change. Like I said, it may change depending on what news comes out. But I see value at wide receiver ones with decent matchups, quarterbacks that are playing better. So I'm going to spend my money on running backs this week and see how that strategy works, because nothing's working for me right now. I need to change some things up and see what happens. So that's kind of where I'm leaning this week. Kind of moving forward, though, into the next part, games that you like for this week. Cole, do you want to start us off there?
Yeah, I will. Obviously, I'm going ATL versus Minnesota. Atlanta versus Minnesota. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I say that. The final score will probably end up being 14-7.
Probably.
That's been how it's been this year.
It's just how it's been. You expect the high-scoring games to go crazy, and then it's like 7-10.
And then it's the Steelers and the Bengals or something. And it's like 80 total points in the freezing cold. Yeah,
it's been that way all year. But maybe I should change my picks here and pick the two best defenses going against each other. But New Orleans and the New York Giants, from a fan perspective, I'm excited to watch that one. I've been enjoying watching New Orleans with the new head coach. They got Dennis Allen out of there, but there's also potential for Malik Neighbors to go crazy against a depleted Saints secondary. Alvin Kamara should have a good game. And then Jacksonville and Tennessee is another good game I like.
I gotta.
Those are the games I like. Go ahead, Flo.
I gotta say something really quickly. Did you just put a game in games you want to watch where it's a 2-10 team versus a 4-8 team?
I sure did. Yep.
Well, that's the best for fantasy, man.
I love the Saints. I turn them on every Sunday.
I'm sick of the Saints. I hate they're on my TV every week. Gabe, what do you got this week?
Hey, you'll have them on this Sunday too, Flo. No, you're in the market. You're in our market here, our television market. You don't have a choice. You'll be watching them.
Yeah, I know.
I got Arizona and Seattle. I like that game with two mediocre defenses, but I think some good offensive production. And then I got Jacksonville and the Titans again. Two teams really have nothing to play for. The Titans defense has steadily declined all season. I think because they just don't give a rip anymore. And so why would I go out there and get hurt at this point? Who cares? So I love towards the end of the season when teams start tanking and it's just free reign to the end zone. No one's putting their head down and trying to decleat somebody for a first round draft pick. It's just not going to happen. At this point, winning, it hurts you more than anything in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the two I'm kind of circled in on. Cole mentioned the other ones I like. I do like New Orleans and the Giants. Kamara's literally the only person the Saints have that can break free for any type of yard. He's going to get peppered with targets. I'm expecting somewhere around 6 to 8 catches this week.
Yeah.
And that's good production.
Well, let me touch base on one thing too. Kendra Miller, the backup, may be back this week. He's been excited. He's been in the Dennis Allen doghouse. He got fired, and now his morale's changed. And a morale change can do a lot for a player. So I'm sure that he'll probably come in and take 4 touchdowns from Alvin Kamara this weekend, the way it's looking. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too with Kamara now that Taysom Hill's gone. I think it could help, but I didn't realize that the other backup was coming back. So it'd be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out this week on Sunday. But the games I have circled for this week is Seattle versus the Cardinals. Excited to see that's a big divisional game. So it'll be interesting to watch that, kind of see how they battle. And then I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points in that game as well. And then the other game I have circled is Bills at the Rams. I feel like there could be some fireworks in that game as well. I didn't really pick any of those guys. I know, Cole, you said Puka, but I think there could be a lot of value in that game. I think, did you mention Hollis, Gabe, or did we talk about that offline?
About who?
Shakir?
Hollins? I didn't talk about Hollins. We talked about him. I can't remember. I think that was in the group text. Tim Patrick just scored a second touchdown. I was just watching that, dude. It's so stupid, dude. Why is he? Me and a couple other guys at work, we're sweating the 4 touchdown parlay right now. Gibbs, Montgomery, Jacobs, and we're waiting for freaking Brown to score a touchdown. And Tim Patrick has scored 2. And it's just, it's plus 3,000 or something. And we're just sitting here sweating it. And Tim Patrick
Scores every week. You pick up this one?
Not a friend of the pod.
Not a friend of the pod. Speaking of not friends of the pod, let's go to the no touchy. Cole, we'll let you start us off, Mr. Deebo Samuel.
Yes. Deebo Samuel, always and forever. Arch enemy, whatever you call it, number one. Arch enemy number 1 of the pod for me is Deebo Samuel. You could walk him out there for free in a promotion. You could say, free Deebo Samuel entry in your lineup for 0. I'll say pass. Give me Westbrook Akine because he's more productive. And I'm gonna shock the world here. I've been hyping him. I wouldn't say hype him up, but I've mentioned him earlier. I'm gonna pull that WWE thing where it's like a heel turn where he comes out of nowhere and hits somebody in the back of the head with a chair. I'm no touching Isaac Garindo.
Oh.
I'm not picking him. I put my faith in Gus Edwards last week. Last week, I took the suggestion of some people in this podcast to pick Gus Edwards. I substituted Gus Edwards for Bucky Irving, and Bucky Irving decided to go buck wild. And I missed out on about $20 on the $3 entry. So I'm no touching the value running backs that come off with the injuries because they haven't proved it to me. Why would I pick Gus Edwards? What has Gus Edwards done that showed me that I should pick him for value?
You remember a guy that used to play for the Ravens? Used to score a bunch of touchdowns. I think his name was Gus Edwards.
Yeah, that's
That was
exactly.
his name.
Yeah. I also remember. I also remember whenever they had freaking Lamar Jackson and all those other guys to get him down to the 1 yard line.
This is true. Yeah, this is true. But what is he priced at this week? Gus Edwards, $5,400. He has gone up $1,000 in salary. That just proves to you that the experts have faith in him.
Okay,
And-
pick him, guy.
I'm not picking him.
Oh, you're
not
not?
this week, not this matchup. I can't
Well,
really
now we'll have 20.
I'm not. Yeah, no, I'm not picking him this week. My no touchies this week. Like I said, I've picked Deebo Samuel on a lot of teams season long this year, and I'm with Cole. If his salary was $0, I'm not picking him. I'm going away from him. I don't care what his salary is. But this is going to probably surprise you a little bit, Britton. I'm out on the Panthers this week against the Eagles because of the Panthers. The last two games, let's see, they played Kansas City, good defense, and then they played Tampa. Those are two good teams, and Bryce Young has played really well. I'm expecting some regression from Bryce Young. I mean, he may have an okay game, but Philadelphia's defense, if you've been watching the last couple weeks, has really stepped up in the secondary. That was kind of their big issue. Yeah. And it's in Philly, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's in Philly.
So it may be a little chilly in Philly.
Yeah, chilly.
Those Carolina boys. I'm staying away from the Panthers this week. Yeah. That's my no touchies.
That's actually, I literally had that circled on my notes. I am deathly afraid for Bryce Young this week. I think this is going to be one of those moments where
all eyes will be on him now because he's been playing well, and now I'm going to start watching, and he's going to suck.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go back to the drawing board here for Bryce Young because I could see this getting ugly in a hurry, especially in Philadelphia with those fans.
They don't. Yeah, they just don't have separators at receiver. It's like when you're playing a team like Kansas City who doesn't have fantastic corners. Tampa doesn't have fantastic corners, good teams. And you go to Philly, and they have some decent corners. A rookie, Sanders still or something, who's been really good, and Cooper DeJean, who they drafted in the first round, or was it second round? Second round. He fell second round. That's just they got a good secondary. I don't expect Leggett or old man Thielen to get it going.
Hey, can I mention something real quick? Must see TV in that game. I would like to know the last time we had a white corner guarding a white receiver in the NFL. That's something I would like to look up and find out.
So you're saying that's gonna happen this weekend? Yeah.
Yeah, it should. I mean, at some point, it's gonna be Cooper DeJean and Adam Thielen 1-on-1.
So safeties don't count. So what's his name for the Vikings? Harrison. What's his name?
Harrison Smith.
Harrison Smith doesn't count. You don't count him as guarding.
I'm talking corners. I'm talking corners.
No, that's true. Strictly corner, you're 1,000% right. But a DB, corner, no, you're right. I agree.
And then the other no touchy, my last one is Aaron Rodgers. I'm done.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's time for him to find greener pastures outside of football, boys. He's releasing a documentary on Netflix.
Dude, that looks good. I cannot wait to watch that. I cannot wait to watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary.
It'd be interesting to watch him trip. So,
dude, he seems like he does. If there was one quarterback that I could spend a weekend with, I'm not gonna lie, it would be Aaron Rodgers.
Deshaun Watson.
Aaron Rodgers. Either Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen. Josh Allen seems like a really cool guy, but that Aaron Rodgers documentary grabbed my attention very quick. I can't wait to see what backdoor black market supplements Aaron Rodgers has been taking to keep him.
I'll tell you what, that's a good question. That's a good question. Flo, who would you pick? Who would you pick to spend a weekend with as a quarterback?
I was just having that thought. The part of me just wants to go Lamar Jackson and just see how he lives his life. I'm curious what it looks like.
I know who Chris Collinsworth would pick.
Oh.
Yeah.
I saw something on Twitter or on a reel where it was talking about Collinsworth making the announcement when Amari Cooper pitched it back to Josh Allen, and he couldn't help but continue to talk.
He had to bring up Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes. Yep.
Yeah.
Right back to him.
Chris Collinsworth would pick a romantic getaway at the Poconos with Patrick Mahomes for sure. No doubt
Mhm.
about it. No doubt about it. Dude, I would pick Jameis Winston. I'd pick Jameis Winston.
That's
Oh, dude, that'd be hilarious. Could you imagine just sitting there and Jameis Winston
Jameis.
looking over at you and just saying
Dude,
just something random?
you know, this is gonna sound funny, but I gotta know. Like, I think I might pick Russell Wilson. I gotta know if he's that cheesy, or
Yeah,
if he's
that's
or
true.
just like
Yeah.
the act. Like, I just need to know.
I got a
So maybe-
sleeper. Remember how we did underrated Thanksgiving foods?
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew.
Oh, dude, on the
Do you count that though? I mean, he's
I actually met Gardner Minshew. Well, I didn't meet him, but I was at a wedding with Gardner Minshew. Sarah's friends are all from Mississippi, and he's from Brandon, Mississippi. And I was at a wedding, and I saw this guy had a beard, and he was still in Jacksonville at the time. And I looked over, and I was like, Sarah, is that Gardner Minshew? She's like, oh yeah, they're all friends with him, went to school with them. And I was like, oh man. And I didn't have the nuggets to go up there and say anything to him, but he seems like he'd be a really cool guy. He loves
he
ball.
could have been on the podcast tonight talking about our picks.
Mhm.
If you would have just went up there and talked to him, met him, and
Yep.
Could have been.
Gardner Minshew, friend of the pod.
For the pod. Always will be. Shout out to
Mhm.
Gardner. Just kidding. Well, anybody got any last words before we wrap this thing up?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. We'll find out what happens.
Well, that's all I
this
gotta
weekend,
say.
SMU ponies, pony up this weekend, baby. We need it.
baby.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. See y'all next week.
See ya.